Well, hello, Orlando here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to share a short video with you about the first 3 months of owning a fursuit. Yes, me, Orlando, I've now been with Philip now for just over 3 months. And I wanted to tell you about some of the things I've learned in those 3 months. And yeah, things that might be of help to someone who's either just bought their first fursuit themselves, or somebody who's just about to buy or make their own suit. What to expect as you develop your journey with your character. I'm going to talk a bit of philosophy today, but we'll start off with a bit of housekeeping, the sort of things that happen to you when you're a deer dragon. Yeah, as I said before, one of the things you do soon realize about any fursuit is they need a bit of maintenance. Haven't done much on Orlando recently. I've been pretty good actually. Haven't had too many major issues, but there's always the occasion for a seam to give way here or there. I lost a seam on one of my paws the other day. Had to be sewed up, and that was okay. That was okay. But yeah, I think if you do own a fursuit, expect that you are going to be doing some maintenance on your suit from time to time. The other thing that happened this week was we went for a walk with the Riverside Furs, and we had a little incident, didn't we? Yes, some delightful possum decided that I looked like a very nice toilet and pissed all over me. Yes, I got pissed on by a possum. If you don't believe me, have a close look at the Riverside Furs walk video. You can see a bit of possum damage on me in one or two shots in that video. But anyway, so that meant that some of my fursuit had to go off and get cleaned by me. Yes, I clean my fursuit. And it's mostly the arm sleeves that had to be cleaned. My arm sleeves, I think you got one of my arm sleeves. So I threw them in the washing machine, put them on a delicate cycle, put the water temperature down to cold and the spin to basically lowest I could, and we washed me fursuit sleeves, and that went really well actually. The machine didn't like it. The machine wouldn't spin them at the end at all. I don't know why. So we ended up basically hanging them on the line. They're pretty much dripping wet. Went back in the morning and they're still pretty wet, so we got him dry within about 24 hours, and we've got my sleeves back on again. You look like a nice hairy deer dragon once again for you, yes. So yeah, my arm sleeves are good, but yeah, get used to the fact you have to wash your fursuit occasionally. Have to wash your fursuit, it's a necessary evil. It's got to be a balancing act though. Every time you wash your suit, you do a little bit of damage to it. You shorten the lifespan of the suit slightly, but then again, you can't go around being a smelly old deer dragon, so you've got to wash from time to time. Yeah, certainly keep some fursuit spray with you at all times, because I think that's an excellent idea for any sort of fursuiting expedition. Your suit's going to get a bit wet. Spray it after you've finished. Spray the head, spray the paws, spray the arm sleeves. Yeah, you'll be a nicer smelling deer dragon by far. So the other thing that's happening, as you probably know, is I'm going off overseas with my friend Orlando here. Orlando's going to be a flying deer dragon, and I decided that I'd better have a case for him. Hadn't got a case, a suitable hard case, so I did a bit of thinking about this, and I thought about getting one of the industry standards, one of the Pelican cases. I've got a couple of those already actually, which we use for photography equipment, and I thought, shall I get one for Orlando? And looked at it and thought, this is going to be big and heavy and expensive. About $700 local money for a big case big enough to take Orlando overseas in. And I was also concerned that when I'm in the US, I'm going to have to get onto an Amtrak train, and I didn't know if I could actually take a Pelican case onto an Amtrak train. I thought that might be just a bit too big and too difficult. So I bought myself a case. I bought a case. Now, you're not going to believe this, guys. You honestly are not going to believe this. If you're going to buy a case, what brand of case are you going to buy for a deer dragon? Well, let me show you. Yes, it's official. The case, where are we? There we are. It's an Antler. Yes, the brand is called Antler. I have an Antler case. So my Antler case will contain some antlers. Yes, so that's there. Yeah, you couldn't write it, could you? You couldn't write it. But that was $500 cheaper than a case, the what do you call it, the proper case, the Pelican. And as I say, I have a great hope that our good friends at the airport, workers, the handlers baggage handlers will not destroy my fursuit. I hope anyway. We live in hope, it's all we can do. And I think the last thing I want to talk about in terms of 3 months down the journey is the character development. As somebody's been asking me, and I will be doing Q&A very soon. I'll probably be doing a live stream Q&A this weekend. But yeah, how's your character getting on? Now I'd have to say that yeah, this has been quite weird actually. This has actually been quite weird, and quite a lot has really changed in the last few weeks since I made my most recent sort of update video. I think it's basically in how you play your character. How you play a character has changed a lot. When you first get your fursuit, when I first got my fursuit, I was a bit guilty of the human in a fursuit sort of syndrome, where you sort of sat there frozen, not really moving, and yeah, it just doesn't look very natural. And then after a while you go onto YouTube, you watch a few videos about fursuiters and how to operate your fursuit, and you discover that obviously wearing a fursuit is basically pretty much the same as acting for stage. Acting for screen is a very different skill, by the way. If you're a screen actor, that's completely different. But acting for stage, as you probably know, you should be making eye contact with the audience. You should be projecting your voice. You should exaggerate all your movements. Move around a bit more. Yeah, keep everything moving, basically. And yeah, keep people's eyes attracted to you. And yeah, when you first start with your fursuit, you've got to learn to do these things. It takes a little while. But after a while, after a few weeks of doing this, it's now getting to the stage where you sort of stop acting. You don't really need to act anymore. And that's how I'm sort of starting to feel now. You can sort of relax into the character. Orlando is his own person, his own deer dragon. And yeah, I don't have to sort of put the effort into being Orlando anymore, because I sort of am Orlando. And it ends up with this sort of situation where you sort of feel with your owner, Philip in this case, that yeah, you're a partnership. Within a partnership, you've each got your own role within the team. When it comes to these videos, Philip's the one who turns the computer on and sets everything up, and yeah, does all the editing and uploading and all that sort of thing. And then when everything's set up and ready to go, Philip puts me down in front of the screen and lets me deliver a performance. And that's right. And I think Philip now trusts me enough to know that I'll deliver a good performance for him. And I think I trust Philip enough that he'll do his best to show me off in a nice light on YouTube or wherever else we happen to get to. But it's right. I think that's an important point as well. You sort of get to trust your character. You don't sort of find that anymore that your character is just a joke or a toy. He is an integral part of you. And in fact, Philip often says, I'm his emotional support animal now. And I think it's probably true. I think I probably am. And for me, Philip is my owner. He sort of looks after me as well and makes sure I'm maintained and cleaned and brushed and look like a pretty deer dragon for the screen. And so yeah, we sort of work together mutually in a fashion which supports the pair of us. And I think, yeah, that's how this sort of relationship with the suit's going to work. It's a little bit different for me, I suppose, because I'm only a partial suit. And those full suiters out there will know that the full suit requires a little bit more integration, as well as I said, how you bend over, how you pick things up, how you deport yourself, how you sit down even. Depends more on your suit, because your suit is obviously a lot larger and can get into a lot more mischief than you can. And there's even more seams you can rip if you're not careful. But for a partial suitor like me, it's really a question of just, yeah, getting to feel comfortable with yourself in front of a camera, in front of an audience, in front of fellow fursuiters, and in front of members of the general public holding cameras. and also in front of bloody possums as well, annoying creatures. But anyway, it's been a fun week so far. I've got a bit more content to come this week. I've got a couple of videos in the can, actually, as they would say, and I will probably do a live stream and answer some Q&A questions. So if anybody's got any questions, any burning questions they'd like to ask a Deer Dragon, please pop them in the chat and I'll try and answer them. Probably do a live stream over the weekend. We'll have a bit of fun together. Yeah, and basically, have a good time. So anyway, that's really all I've got to say. 3 months in, we're having a ball. As I say, the feeling is a little different to when we started. It feels a little bit different now, but I'm still loving every minute of it. I wouldn't give this away for the world, guys. If you've ever, as you say, I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you're ever wondering, is this for you? Yeah. Just look into my eyes. Look into my eyes. How can you resist that? How can you resist? How can you resist? You can't. You know that if you've gone button with that fursuit bug, you're going to have to get a fursuit sooner or later. And yet, live the dream. Live the dream, folks. Okay, that's really all for today. I'm going to say goodbye for now. And as always, keep it weird. Do something that makes you happy and doesn't hurt anybody else. And yet, do something good that makes the world a better place today. We'll all thank you for it one day. It's great. Okay, Orlando's saying goodbye for now, and I'll see you in the next one, whatever that is. Bye, guys.